Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I am Aaron Loomis, and with me, as always, is June Liu. How you doing, June?
Doing good.
So today we are talking about the Dapper El Borracho Natural Toro. The cigar is more of a Toro Extra 6-inch by 54 ring gauge. Comes out of the Naxa factory in Nicaragua. Wrapper is Mexican San Andres Natural. The binder and filler are both from Nicaragua. Cigar is blended by Ian Reith and Raul Disla. And price point is $13.80, and the cigar was released in July of 2017. So with that out of the way, June, what was your pre-light experience like?
The pre-light for me was good. Uh, so for the look of the cigar, I remember the cigar being really attractive, right? Like it had this like square press to it. The band for just all Dapper cigars look really, what's the word? It looks eye-catching,
Classic?
right? Like it looks like, what's that?
Classic?
Yeah, like classic. It's a really unique, like cool, classy kind of a look to it. So it looks really nice. Things well pressed, seems tight. Head done with a really nice double cap to it. Smelling the wrapper mainly got a the nosing experience and like the cold draw was kind of the parts where I felt like it was kind of it was subpar, I guess, or average. So smelling the wrapper, a little bit of cedar coming through off the foot, hay, and a decent amount of white pepper. Cold draw gave me hay and cedar. So all in all, I really enjoyed the package of the cigar.
Yeah, aromas I got from the wrapper were like a mix of hay and leather. Foot brought like a plum sweetness and some hay. And the pre-light draw was like a very faint plum sweetness and hay with a look, kind of a medium level spiciness that I was getting on my lips. So take us through your flavor profile.
The first third, I thought it was pretty delicate. So, like, what do I mean by delicate? I mean, kind of thought that the flavors are kind of thin. It's somewhat nuanced, but it was a lot of faintness, right? A lot of faintness and like nuttiness, dry wood, bread. There's like a little bit of sour citrus coming through. Retrohaling is probably the best part of it because, like with most retrohaling, right, you get deeper notes of whatever you're tasting already. So no difference in this one. So I got mainly introduction of a spice and a black pepper spice, and I got an increased nuttiness to it. Finish also pretty thin, mainly like a lasting dry wood. Strength mild, body medium. Then the second third, I felt like it moved away from that delicate like thin flavor profile to more robust flavors. So flavors now centered around like baking spices, further developed dry wood, a bit of a semi-sweet, naturally like semi-sweet dry roasted nuttiness. Retro still giving me that black pepper nuttiness, and finish are very still the same lasting dry wood. Strength, kind of kicks up to that medium format, and body stays medium. Moving to the final third, I mean, same flavor profiles really as the second third. Baking spices, dry wood, semi-sweet, dry roasted nuts. What I realized the most, if anything, is the mouthfeel of the cigar, right? So, you know, it's like a mouth-watering kind of a feel to it. Smoking the cigar the entire way, I probably haven't even drank, I don't know, 3, 4 sips of my water. And usually I'm taking pretty consistent gulps of my water when I'm reviewing cigars and just smoking cigars in general. So,
Yeah, for me, the cigar began with a mix of cocoa, some dark wood, and some baking spice. A quarter inch in or so, the flavors kind of mellowed a little bit and created a better overall mix of the flavors. A little further in, the cocoa went away. It was replaced by a little bit of a creamy coffee to go along with that dark wood and the baking spice. Inch in, cream bumps up a little bit, while the coffee, the dark wood, and the baking spices were all at even levels. At an inch and a half, I began to get a graham cracker note that was right at the beginning of the draw, and the creaminess had almost completely left the profile. The retro hill is contributing that kind of like a spicy oak note. And as the third was coming to a close, the cream kind of came back into the profile, and the strength level is like slightly above medium. Okay, in the second third, a good dose of earthiness joined in with that wood note to take front stage with some of the coffee and baking spices were remaining in the background. Quarter inch in, earthiness and the wood notes kind of settled back to the pack and created a well-rounded profile with the coffee and the baking spice. At an inch in, a pretty large char note joined the wood and kind of drowned it out the rest of the profile. A little bit further in, some cream kind of joins in to tame that char and smooth things out again. And the retro hill like a very creamy wood note, and strength bump up to medium full. Final third, cream was kind of out front with a slightly charred oak not far behind. After a few draws, the coffee note became present in the background, which was like a nice component to the profile there. Half inch in, retrohale was carrying a creamy mixture of the coffee and the oak, and then at an inch in, the creaminess was still up front. A little bit of bitterness joined in the oak in the background, and the coffee had left the profile. And that's kind of how the cigar finished out. And the strength had dropped back down to just be slightly above medium, which was interesting. So take us through your construction for burn and draw.
Um, I overall really have not a lot of complaints about the construction. I rated the burn perfect. Razor sharp, tight, sturdy ashes. It was a slow, cool burn. Never had to reuse my lighter after the initial toast. I thought, and I rated the draw to be very good, which is right one notch below perfect. It was a little tight for my liking. I even cut it to that very last little piece of the cap. It still, had a little bit of a tightness coming through, but it's not a big deal. Which is why it's still very good.
Yeah, I think I ranked it pretty much similar to you. I mean, burn was fantastic, stayed straight the entire time. Ashes held on about inch and a half increments. In regards to the draw, same as you, just a little slightly tighter than I prefer through the first half. Then it kind of eased up to right where I wanted it the rest of the way. So it started out a little tight, but then it was perfect the rest of the way. So overall, what were your thoughts on the cigar?
Um, it's always interesting to kind of come across a brand of cigars that I never had anything of or just don't know much about at all. Um, in the case of Dapper cigars in general, it was really cool that like Ian went through and I felt like he was pretty transparent in terms of kind of like, who the blender is and what kind of tobacco use he has. And in general, like it sounds like he's using premium tobacco, right? So I really appreciate that of Dapper in general and like the branding behind it. But in the case of this particular cigar, I thought that it kind of took a little bit to hit a stride. I wasn't too pleased about the first third, but it kind of took within the second third and last third to kind of like give it some substance and good flavors for me. So I liked it overall. I mean, my profile is typically one that is more nuanced and not a lot of strength behind it. So that's kind of like my wheelhouse. So it definitely falls within my wheelhouse within most of the cigars. So, but I am looking forward to like smoking other ones of his that may be, giving a better oomph and like, body and strength.
Yeah, I thought this was a good introduction to the Dapper brand. It was the first one I smoked. First third was pretty complex, had lots of changes. Second third got a little dominated with some char notes, but it was nice to see that the cigar kind of recovered in the final third and had a creamy profile with the wood, the coffee on the supporting notes. And like you said, it has me looking forward to trying other lines that he has. So that's always a good sign when you're not turned off by the first cigar you smoke. You're open to seeing other stuff. And I actually think this cigar would pair well with like a peated whiskey. Um, it just based on the flavor profile, I don't know why. I think it would stand up to that kind of experience. Price point's a little steep, $13.80. That's a bit up there. But I think it's definitely worth it to try it to see what you think, to see if it's something that you want to explore more in. So definitely good cigar. So getting into the scores, we scored it identical, 6.67. The only difference we had was just based on which third we rated what, but it was all the same. So how do you think that matched up with your experience?
It matched up well. I mean, so this guy is took a little bit to kind of get warmed up for me. Overall, I did enjoy it. It was good, and then the construction was really, really good. So, uh, good score.
Yeah, I'd agree. Good flavors. Second, third just got hit with a little bit of a char overload for me. If that wouldn't have happened, it would have scored even higher. But the construction was fantastic on this cigar for both of us. So I think that's great to see. So I think this is definitely a good score for this cigar. Any other final thoughts from you?
What's interesting about Dappers is like nowadays we're all going through like Facebook cigar groups. And this one gets a decent amount of buzz.
Mhm.
I remember like people like Instagramming this brand and like people like posting about it in general. So it's definitely getting like a bit of a wave going with like more the boutique cigar enthusiasts out there. So,
Yep.
knowing that it's a good cigar brand, and I like the people behind it, I hope them well. So,
Yep, exactly. We were just catching this video on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to us, but also check out the full written review on the website, developingpalates.com. Be sure to follow us on all the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Google+. And you can catch all of our review recaps on podcasts, so iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.